Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Arjun Chaudhary. Here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Monday, the 4th of January. Afghanistan forces battle militants near Indian mission in Mazar-i-Sharif. Earthquake measuring 6.7 on the Richter scale jolts South Asia. And combing operations continue in Indian airbase after terror strike enters third day. And now for all the details. Afghan forces continue to battle gunmen near Indian Consulate in northern Afghanistan. A group of armed men tried unsuccessfully to break into the consulate late on Sunday night and shut themselves into a nearby house instead.
Gunfights have raged as Afghan forces fight to flush out gunmen hours after the attackers tried to storm into the diplomatic mission in Mazar-i-Sharif city of Balkh province. The attackers are said to be holed up in a house near the consulate from where they are mounting the attack, forcing the Afghan troops to cordon off the area.
اینا مذاهبشان تقسیمات شده که یک ضربه آنی وارد بکنن بعد از ضربه یک دخول اجرا بکنن. ان شاء الله اگر هر انکشافاتی که آمد شما رو ما چی که وظیفه کماندان صاحب است و مسئول امنیت و مسئولین امنیتی شما رو به جریان قرار می‌دهیم.
Numerous explosions were reported from the area as local security officials said that gunmen are armed with assault rifles as well as rocket launchers and hand grenades and are resisting the Afghan security forces. Initial reports suggested that 7 people, including policemen, were wounded in the attack. No details were immediately available on any other casualties or damage or on the number of attackers involved. Although no group has claimed responsibility so far, the attack coincides with terror attack on an Indian airbase bordering Pakistan. The attack also comes a week after Indian Prime Minister visited Kabul and Lahore in an attempt to improve regional stability. In 2014, India's consulate in the western Afghan city of Herat was hit by heavily armed insurgents, including suicide bombers.
Staying on news from the country, a suicide bomber blew himself close to a police checkpoint near the Hamid Karzai International Airport in Afghanistan's capital city of Kabul. There have been no casualties in the attack. The bomber detonated his explosives soon after he was spotted by the security personnel. None of the militant groups have taken responsibility for the attack yet. The attack on Monday follows a series of attacks in the Afghan capital over recent days. On Friday, a 12-year-old boy and a security guard were killed and 15 injured in a suicide attack on a French restaurant in Kabul. The Kabul airport was targeted by Taliban last month when a suicide car bomb exploded close to an entrance to Kabul's airport, killing one person. Moving on, a massive earthquake measuring 6.7 on the Richter scale in India's northeastern province of Manipur jolted South Asia on Monday. 7 in India and 4 in neighboring Bangladesh died in the calamity. The quake caused damage to several buildings and triggered panic among locals.
The tremors were felt early Monday morning with its epicenter at the Tamenglong district located at the Manipur-Assam border some 22 miles northwest of provincial capital Imphal. Locals said that they were thrown out of their beds when the massive quake struck.
सभी लोग रास्ते पर आ गए सब लोग तो यहाँ पर तो सब 2-3 मंजिलें सबका ही है सब लोग रास्ते पर ही है सबका में एकदम डर तो सभी को लगा हुआ है.
As of now, the information is that there have been about 7 casualties, but the number of injured is little more. There are about 80 to 90 people admitted in the Manipur-Imphal hospitals itself, the 2 hospitals together.
The death toll is expected to rise as rescue efforts were hampered by severed power supplies and telecommunication links.
Every one of us we should have to extend whatever possible help from the state government side, from the individual side, from the NGOs. And we should have to fight this type of disaster. I have already, Honorable Prime Minister and Home Minister also, they spoke to me, they are ready to help whatever they can.
The tremors were also felt as far as neighbouring countries of Bangladesh and Nepal. In Bangladesh capital Dhaka, 3 residential buildings have tilted after the earthquake.
A joint combing operation inside an Indian Air Force base continues in the northern city of Pathankot, where terrorists have launched a pre-dawn attack on Saturday. 7 security personnel, including a lieutenant colonel, have been martyred in the attack, and many are said to be injured. According to latest report, the 5th terrorist has been gunned down.
Fresh and heavy firings were reported at the Pathankot Air Force Base on Monday, where the operation against the hold-up terrorists entered its 3rd day. The attack began in early hours of Saturday when suspected Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists dressed in Indian military uniforms stormed the Air Force Base and started indiscriminate firing. 4 terrorists were gunned down by Indian security forces later on Saturday.
Area of the air base being very large, given the personnel and the strategic assets which are located here, combing operations are going on simultaneously. The entire operations will continue till all the personnel, assets, structures are physically combed. So it is likely to take a long time.
The airbase houses MiG-21 fighter jets and Mi-25 and Mi-35 attack helicopters along with other military hardware. The Indian Army said the vital military assets were safe and secure.
These terrorists had come well prepared and heavily armed with the aim of targeting the strategic air assets, which include aircrafts and helicopters located in the vital Pathankot Air Base. I would like to ensure everybody that all these assets have been secured and are safe.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a high-level meeting with senior officials including National Security Advisor Ajit Doval and Foreign Secretary S. Jaishankar to review the situation and is believed to have discussed its ramifications on ties with Pakistan. The terror attack has come just a week after Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid a surprise visit to Pakistan to strengthen bilateral ties between the two countries.
Moving on to news from neighbouring Pakistan. Protests broke out across Pakistan against the killing of a Shiite cleric by Saudi Arabia. Hundreds of Shiite Muslims took to the streets across Pakistan on Sunday to protest against Saudi Arabia's execution of prominent Shiite cleric Nimar al-Nimar. Nimar was executed by Saudi Arabia on Saturday, along with 3 other Shiites and dozens of Al-Qaeda members. He was the most vocal critic of the Saudi dynasty among the country's marginalized Shiite minority. While considered a terrorist by Riyadh, Nimar was hailed elsewhere as a champion for Shiite rights. The execution has been met by similar protests across the world.
दुनिया में इस वक्त सऊदी एम्बेसीज के बाहर लोग निकले हुए हैं और सऊदियों के इस जुल्म और बर्बरियत और दहशत के खिलाफ निकले हुए हैं। जब तक सऊदियों का यह जुल्म जारी रहेगा, मजलूमों की आवाज उठती रहेगी।
Prolonged power cuts in Pakistan-administered Kashmir have angered people of the remote region. Despite repeated requests, locals say the problem remains lasting.
Frustrated by long hours of power outages, people of Pakistan-administered Kashmir held a protest against the local government, accusing it of ignoring their pleas. The region experiences 18 to 20 hours of power outages on a daily basis. This is happening even while it produces surplus power, which is usually diverted to the national grid of Pakistan.
और अगर ये लोड शेडिंग जिस तरह मेरे सदर चौधरी शफकत ने डिस्ट्रिक्ट के सदर ने कहा है, हम इंशाअल्लाह ताला धरना देंगे, हम इनका ग्रिड स्टेशन का घेराव करेंगे, हम उन घरों का, उन कोठियों का घेराव करेंगे जिनमें डबल कनेक्शन है, जिनमें कभी बिजली बंद ही नहीं होती.
Pakistan-administered Kashmir requires only 300 megawatts of electricity for the entire region. But in spite of generating 1,133 megawatts of electricity from projects like the Mangla Dam and the Neelam Jhelum project, the region itself reels under darkness.
हमारा खिता जो बिजली पैदा कर रहा है उसमें से 1/4 चौथा हिस्सा भी हमारी ज़रूरत जो है वो पूरी नहीं कर रहे ये लोग। ये बिजली के ना होने से जो हमारे बच्चों का तालीमी हर्ज हो रहा है, जो हमारे कारोबार मुतासर लोगों के हो रहे हैं, ये रोज़गार पैदा करना, ये लोगों को सहूलतें देना, ये हमारी हुकूमत की जिम्मेदारियां हैं। आइन के अंदर लिखा है कि हमारे लोगों के जो बुनियादी हकूक़ हैं उनका तहफ़्फ़ुज़ ये हुकूमत करे, लेकिन ये हुकूमत अपना तहफ़्फ़ुज़ कर पाई है और अपने लोगों का तहफ़्फ़ुज़ करने में नाकाम रही है।
While Pakistan claims to champion the Kashmiri cause on the World Forum, Pakistan-administered Kashmir remains one of the most neglected and backward regions under its rule. Locals say, so far the government has not done anything to improve the falling infrastructure in the remote region.
More than 100,000 Sri Lankans who were displaced during the country's civil wars will be given lands to build homes. Sri Lankan President Maithripala Sirisena stated that a mechanism will be set up to complete the process within the next 6 months. Thousands of people continue to live in government-run camps 6 years after the 26-year-old long civil war ended in 2009 following the defeat of Tamil rebels. Sirisena stated the lands will be given to people displaced by the war in the embattled northern and eastern provinces and also in the northwestern coastal region of Puttalam. He is also set to release additional private land occupied by the military, mainly in the former war zones in the northern and eastern provinces within the next 2 weeks. Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude, the top stories once again. Afghanistan forces battle militants near Indian mission in Mazar-i-Sharif. Earthquake measuring 6.7 on the Richter scale jolts South Asia. And combing operations continue in Indian Air Base after terror strike enters third day. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Good night.